Hey everyone, Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel. Good to be back with you guys here. So I am back. Well, hopefully I'll start putting these videos out more consistently. But for those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I put a post out a while back and kind of updated you on what was going on, why I haven't been doing videos. So there's been a bunch of reasons, but in the beginning, it was actually some health stuff. So I had some major vertigo going on. I ended up in the emergency room. And long story short, they kind of put me on some exercise regimen, gave me some medication. So I'm doing a lot better as a result of that. So health-wise, I'm doing pretty good. But the other thing that I've been doing is I've just been focusing on my full-time job. So I am a painting contractor by trade. This is my busy season. So I've been really focused on my painting jobs and also rebranding my company and doing stuff like that. But one of the other things that I've had going on, and this is something that I was doing to try to kind of keep my spirits up because it was pretty depressing not being able to put these videos out. And I wasn't even able to work when I had the vertigo. I wasn't able to exercise. I mean, it was bad. I was pretty much down for almost a solid month. So definitely wasn't any fun. But what I was doing to kind of keep me focused, keep my mind off everything that was going on, and just kind of keep my spirits up was I started organizing my shop. So I built some new shelves in here. I got all my gear reorganized, and I've also been minimalizing. So basically just been selling off a lot of stuff that I just don't need and reinvesting that money into stuff that I do need. So that's what today's video is going to be. I'm going to show you around my shop and show you also some of the stuff outside that I have been minimalizing. All right, let's check it out. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of start with this area right over here. So this is kind of just a work area. So this is basically where I do kind of household projects. I actually work on my rifles and clean my guns over here, do modifications and things like that. I got a AR-10 build that I'm working on right now. But basically, this is just kind of a tool area. So got all my sockets and wrenches and stuff in here. And one of the new additions is I put this cabinet under here. And believe it or not, this cabinet was actually in my utility trailer, which I just sold. So I pulled this cabinet out and it fit perfectly under this bench. So really happy to have this. I got everything organized in here now. I can put all my small kind of doodad stuff in these drawers here. So this definitely helps out, keeps me nice and organized. Got my drill in there, some grinders, things like that. So most of the tools on this side are just for, you know, when I'm doing repairs around the house, things like that. So don't have it totally organized. I kind of just threw a lot of miscellaneous stuff in those drawers. But over here, just got my grinder, got my battery charging for my drill. Just got some miscellaneous tools hanging up there. Got my Allen wrenches. And then over here is just spray paint. And then all my lubricants, things like that for working on my cars. And then some lubricants for my firearms. So go ahead, move over here. Got my vise, probably my favorite tool in the shop. Here I got my compressor, garbage can. Got some paper towels on this handy little pipe roll fitting I made. Over here we got the radio center. So got my Baofeng charging, just a shortwave radio. And then up here, it's just a lot of miscellaneous stuff. So I'm not going to go through every single item. It'd probably take hours, but I'll just kind of show you around. Then over here, you know, this isn't actually how I keep everything. This is actually kind of staged for when I do live streams. And hopefully, you know, I just got a new internet system. So I'm just actually waiting on an extender for our new internet. And then once the extender's out here, I'll be able to start live streaming from out in the shop. So you know, if you guys want to watch those live streams, make sure to hit the notification bell. But this is pretty much just set up for kind of like a backdrop for my live streams. But a lot of this stuff I definitely do use. This this power station right here is probably my favorite power station. Just small, basic, but I take that camping with me every time I go out. And then up here, just a lot of camping related stuff. And then in this bin is actually all my snares that I sell on my Etsy shop. So that tote right there is full of snares. And then this right here, just more kind of supplies for my Etsy store. And then over here, we got an EcoFlow generator. This is the first one they sent out to me. And this is the Delta Pro, I think. Something like that. And then that's the AC unit that accompanies that, that power station. And speaking of solar generators, we got our other solar generator here from EcoFlow, and this is the Delta Pro 3. And they just sent me this battery, this big external battery that accompanies this unit. So that just came today, so I just put it there. So I'm excited to get that hooked up. But definitely make sure to leave links in the description along with discount codes for the EcoFlow products, because we are heading towards fall and solar generators are definitely something that a lot of people are going to be shopping for. So over here, got my generator. This is another generator, kind of a backup that I usually take camping sometimes. And then over here, this big generator, this is what powers our house when the power goes out. So under here, just more miscellaneous tools. Got my skill saw, a lot of sockets and household tools in there. Let's see, I don't want to miss too much here. Go ahead and, well, before I skip that, got my bows. This is actually a new bow I just picked up on Amazon, and I got it fitted to me. I've just been practicing with that, but that is a really good bow for the money. All right, over here. Now, this is one of the biggest changes to my shop are these shelves here. So I added these 4 shelves. There was just 2 here before, and it was just kind of random stuff. I had some gardening supply stuff over here and like car wash stuff, and just kind of random. It wasn't really serving much purpose. So this is where I put all of my painting gear. So like I said, I just sold my painting trailer, which is where I was keeping all my painting stuff before, but I just wasn't using that trailer a lot. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to move all that stuff inside my shop, organize it, and then sell the trailer. So that's what I did, and I love it this way. You know, if I'm doing a job, I can just basically back the truck up in here and load all the stuff in the back of my truck. So definitely makes it really convenient for when I'm doing jobs. So under there, just got my paint sprayer, my pressure washer, another paint sprayer there. And then these are all, these totes here just loaded full of painting tools, more painting products there, my drop claws, and then a lot more painting stuff. I don't know, for you painters out there, I'm sure you find this interesting, but it's just so nice to have this stuff all organized. All up there is a lot of my drywall tools. And then over here, just a lot of yard tools. So I got my shovels, rakes, axes, hammers, that kind of stuff hanging up here. So just a good way to kind of keep this stuff organized. You know, I like to have everything open up on my shelves so I can see it and take, you know, just have a really strong visual inventory of all my stuff. It just, you know, really helps, especially if you have ADHD like me. It's really nice to be able to see all your stuff and see what you have. So over here, got my chainsaws. So got my big Husqvarna right there, then the small one. Got my leaf blower, which I actually found at the dump. Somebody threw this leaf blower away, and it works perfectly. In here, just a lot of landscaping supplies. And then that's all my car wash stuff. Got some muck boots here. Got gardening supplies right there. It's actually all full of seeds and some fertilizers in there. And then over here is where I keep a lot of the lubricants for my vehicles for when I'm working on my car and my wife's car. Got all the oil, extra chain for my chainsaw, a lot of bar oil. And then over here, kind of a charging station going on. So this is for actually charging the battery on my outboard motor. And then this is the charging station for my e-bike, which is right there. But under here, got a bunch of fuel. And, you know, if you're doing fuel storage, you're storing fuel, keeping fuel on hand, it's always a good idea to have plenty of stable fuel stabilizer on hand. And then over here, just got my ladders for work, buckets, and those are actually ramps for putting my ATV in the back of my truck. And like I said, this is my e-bike. Love this bike. This is probably my favorite piece of preparedness gear, you know, and I did 2 videos on this bike. And, you know, I'm surprised I didn't get a lot of views on those videos. Maybe just people are kind of burned out on seeing e-bike videos. But I tell you, I guess owning an e-bike is a lot funner than watching one on YouTube. But definitely my favorite piece of prepper gear. I wouldn't trade that for the world. And the next best thing to my e-bike is my ATV and then my trailer here. This is the best combo right here. So I go up in the mountains with this. I can go hunting, and I also load this up with firewood. So definitely love this setup. It's just been a lifesaver, especially when it comes to getting firewood. So done a lot of videos on this ATV, and really not much is new on this other than the winch. Just put a winch on there, and it's actually surprised at how easy that winch installed. So go ahead and I will take you up here to the loft. And sorry, I just moved the ladder here. Eventually I'll put a permanent ladder. I was thinking of having a ladder right, you know, just kind of hook it right here and then have it like hinged. And then basically have like a rope that I can pull down, and this thing will just kind of like swing up and I can store it up there. So eventually I'll get around to doing that. But up here, this was probably one of my favorite shelf builds. So it was so nice to build these shelves. I didn't have any shelves up here before, and all that stuff that you see up there was just kind of scattered on the ground. So it was really nice to get all the stuff that was on the ground here up on these shelves. But most of this stuff is just camping stuff. A lot of like life jackets, wetsuits for the kids when we go camping. That's what's in that tote. I got sleep systems in actually that tote right there. And then that's all outdoor cooking. See if I can even remember. I don't know. There's probably a lot of miscellaneous, but that's all tent stuff. There's chairs. Obviously, I got my sleeping bags. I know that one of these totes is full of the kids' sleeping bags. So anyways, long story short, it was just nice to kind of get this area all organized, get all my camping stuff up there. A lot of my hunting stuff is up there. And then over here, this is a lot of hunting stuff. So I got a range bag right there. I'll keep my ARs in there. Sometimes I put my hunting rifle in there. And then behind that are just my hunting backpacks. And I got my little Chief smoker there. And then here's just a cage for, you know, when we have prisoners, I'll just stick them in there. Just kidding. Now, I we keep this. We have a dog, so sometimes we got to take her to the vet or take her camping. We'll put her in there. But we've actually been using that cage a lot for our chickens. So if one of the chickens gets injured or, you know, is, I forget what they call it, but when they get stuck, the egg gets stuck, we will kind of pull them out of the coop and put them in here and treat them. So I actually we had a chicken that got attacked by a raccoon, and it was pretty bad. So we put her in here, made her a nice little spot. We weren't sure if she was going to make it. So I got a bunch of this different like antiseptic and sprayed it on the wound and treated it the best I could. And she actually made a full recovery. But yeah, having this cage definitely comes in handy for, you know, treating our chicken. So it's kind of like a triage uh, cage. But yep, that's pretty much it for up here. But yeah, like I said, it's just nice to get this all cleaned up and organized. I got my 50-gallon water drums up here. And then over there, just kind of the wife's holiday decorations. I think everybody has a section like that. This is actually just a small portion of it, but I built that lower shelf last year to kind of add to it. But yes, lots of holiday stuff up there. I definitely don't look forward to having to take that down, especially during Christmas. It's mostly Christmas stuff, but see if I missed anything over here. Just got some random stuff hanging up. Got a saw, a little camp saw. I have my construction bags right here. Over here, we just got some snow shovels. I usually keep those in the back of my truck and my wife's car when it starts to snow. And I guess that's it. It's just a rifle for my 1022 or case for my 1022. And then last thing, I think, is this power winch right here. This is the greatest thing ever. So I actually got this scale on here, and this is nice for not only if you get like a buck or get like an elk or something, I can hang them on here and figure out what their weight is, but I'll actually put my bug out bags, get home bags on here, and just a good way to get an accurate weight. But it is really nice to have this winch here. You know, if I get a big bull or something, a big buck, you know, I can hang them on here and bring them up and then just dress them out right in here. And I got to get a gravel floor so things won't get too messy, but it is definitely convenient to have that winch up there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I got my snow sled up there. There's actually two in there. There's another smaller one behind that one. And I think that's it, guys. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section if you see something that I missed. Oh, over here, I got some pots hanging. These are all camp pots. This is a really nice pot that I just got. It's actually my grandfather's, and my mom brought it up here last time she visited and gave it to me, but it is a Griswold cast iron pot with the lid. So I'm really excited to have this. I just got to clean it up, kind of restore it back to its natural beauty, and take that camping. This is actually a pot that I actually like taking camping a lot. I'll usually boil water in here, things like that, but it's got a nice hook. Got another cast iron pot there. And then up here is where I keep all my fishing rods. They used to be hanging on this wall, but I ended up putting the racks up here, so definitely makes a lot more sense just to have them up here and out of the way. So yeah, now I think that is it. So let's go outside and I'll show you some of the things I've been doing out here. So like I said, I've been minimalizing, so been trying to fix a lot of stuff up and sell it. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell this aluminum boat. It is nice, but it is kind of small. I can't fit the whole family in this. I mean, I have, but we're pretty tight in there. So I think I'm going to fix this up and sell it and probably get a better boat. And over here is the toolbox I had on my old truck. And so I pulled that off, got it painted. I'm going to be selling this, but there's a nice weather guard toolbox, and then I'll be getting a different toolbox that fits my new truck. So over here I got my pop-up camper, which I don't know if I told you guys, I had this thing fully restored, and then I took it on one camping trip before I was going to sell it, and I ended up hitting a rock with the door down, and it ripped the door off. So now I'm basically just been on eBay searching for a door to replace this one that I destroyed, and then I can sell this camper. So other thing I'm selling right here is my lumber rack. So this is on my older truck. Got that all painted. So just been waiting. I've already sold a lot of stuff. So these are kind of the last few things that I'm waiting to sell. But this is the new truck, and I got a really good deal, you know, and I didn't want to sell my old truck. I loved my O2. It is a very reliable truck, even though it had like 280,000 miles on it. But the only reason I did it is just because my old truck was just looking really outdated and shabby, and it just wasn't a good look when I was pulling up to jobs. So like I said, I'm kind of in the process of rebranding my painting company. So I finally had to bite the bullet, sell my old truck, and buy this one. So this is a 2015 GMC Sierra. It's a 1500, got the 5.3 V8. So really nice truck. I've been researching it a lot. There are a few modifications that you want to have with these trucks to kind of, you know, make their lifespan a little longer, but it's really nice. I got a very good deal on this truck. It's in really good condition. It's got 155,000 miles. So, you know, it's not a spring chicken. This isn't a new truck, but for me, it's definitely, it's definitely a new truck. But I got a deal on it because this thing was actually in a hailstorm. You can see there are just little dents all over the hood here, and then all on the top as well. But you barely notice them just because it's white, and, you know, it didn't bother me. So, you know, having those dents definitely took a lot off the price. So it made it a very budget friendly truck. But I am actually getting ready to do a video on this truck. I'm going to load it out with all of my survival gear, get this set up. You know, I got my get home bag in here. This is just my bag for work, but I have a box I just ordered that goes under here, and I'm going to fill that with all of, like, you know, my roadside emergency stuff, tools like that. So I'll definitely be doing a video on, you know, how I kind of prep my truck out. But on the back seat here, got my IFAC. This is just a tear away or a rip away IFAC. I always keep those on my back headrest, but in here got tourniquets, basically everything I need to treat pretty much any type of injury. So like I said, I'll be doing a video on, you know, how I prep out my truck. So keep an eye out for that. But that's going to do it for me today, you guys. I think we covered everything, but let me know in the comment section if I forgot anything. But if you're interested in any of the gear or supplies you saw in today's video, I'll make sure to leave links in the description along with discount codes. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and hit that notification bell. So with that said, until the next time, stay prepared.